U.S. President Donald Trump slams critics of his summit meeting with North Korean leader Kim Jong-un US P. President Donald Trump overnight assailed the fake news media and critics who claimed he gave away too much at his summit with North Korean leader Kim Jong-un by saying, "We got so much for peace in the world. The denuclearization deal with North Korea is being praised and celebrated all over Asia. They are so happy," Mr. Trump wrote on Twitter, according to the New York Post. "Over here, in our country, some people would rather see this historic deal fail than give Trump a win, even if it to save potentially millions." Where some pundits questioned the photo op between Mr. Trump and Kim in Singapore last week, arguing that the North Korean dictator got a propaganda win just by being photographed with a world leader. Funny how the fake news and a coordinated effort with each other likes to say, "I gave so much to North Korea because I met, that's because that's all they have to disparage. We got so much for peace in the world." A series of tweets about his Singapore summit last week, he also defended his decision that apparently caught the Pentagon by surprise that he was going to suspend joint military operations, which he called games with South Korea while the talks with Kim were underway. "Holding back the games during the negotiations was my request because they are very expensive and set alight during a good faith negotiation," Mr. Trump said. Also, quite provocative, "Can start up immediately if talks break down, which I hope will not happen." The U.S. and North Korea agreed to work toward the denuclearization of the Korean Peninsula, but the agreement failed to spell out how it would be verified or how long the process would last. It also called for Pyongyang to return to the U.S. the remains of military POWs. It comes as Mr. Trump's personal lawyer, Rudy Giuliani, said the U.S. president has no plans to issue pardons now in the Russia investigation but could choose to do so once the special counsel's work is finished. Mr. Trump's lawyer told CNN's State of the Union program that issuing a pardon now is not necessary and could cloud what Giuliani believes is a very clear picture of an extremely unfair investigation with no criminality involved in it of any kind. Mr. Giuliani said Mr. Trump retained his right to pardon and could do so after special counsel Robert Mueller's report is complete. If people were treated unfairly. His comments come after one-time Trump campaign chairman Paul Manafort was sent to jail last week after a federal judge revoked his house arrest over allegations of witness tampering in the Russia investigation. Mr. Giuliani also called for an investigation into special counsel Robert Mueller's Russia probe, claiming it was tainted from the outset under former FBI Director James Comey. "We want the Mueller probe to be investigated the way the Trump administration has been investigated," Mr. Giuliani said. "This is a case where it's crying out for someone to investigate the investigators," he later told CBS. Mr. Giuliani's comments were the latest in a barrage of on the probe by the president and his lawyers as Mueller appears to be nearing a conclusion to his investigation into possible collusion between Mr. Trump's campaign and Moscow. Witch hunt. There was no Russian collusion. Oh, I see, there was no Russian collusion, so now they look for obstruction on the no Russian collusion. The phony Russian collusion was a made-up hoax, Mr. Trump tweeted. They didn't look at crooked Hillary like this. Double standard, he added, referring to his 2016 Democratic presidential rival Hillary Clinton.